All right, let's do our league average. I've got our league average today, and the question that we'd like to discuss, the topic, is, I guess it seems pretty apparent at this point that the players aren't holding out for money so much as the principal. We've been getting these, because it seems like if they were holding out for money, they would have caved already because the deal that they've been offered is probably the best one they're going to get. And if they had taken it a couple weeks ago, they'd have this 50-50 deal. What I'm wondering is it above league average or below league average for players to show that they are making a stand in the power play rather than the actual monetary gains that are out there?
I think that is above league average because that gives them leverage, and it's their choice. I think it is their choice about whether or not they want to value principle over the money and the immediate gains. I also don't necessarily agree with the idea that it's more about principle than the money. I'm reading and hearing all these projections about how players are losing more now from losing a month or two of the season than they would make with a percentage or two of BRI. We don't know that. Like, that is just based on the last 10 years of BRI, perhaps. And in my opinion, BRI is going to skyrocket when they sign the new TV deal. So I think that these are very conservative projections, and a percentage or two, very substantial. And I'll just bring it back around and reiterate, above league average, go players, blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to go below league average because I was talking to my dad about this last night, and he did labor negotiations for about 10, 15 years. And he said at a certain point, you can only have the lead negotiators in the room to get something done. And while other participants can ask questions, they really shouldn't be taking a major role in it because that's when things get muddled. And I completely agree with him. I think when you start getting the extracurricular people on both sides, whether it's Paul Allen and Dan Gilbert, or it's Kevin Garnett and Baron Davis, or whoever's ending up in the negotiating room, it becomes a matter of principle and a matter of winning instead of actually looking at the deal in front. And these guys are so wired to be competitive anyway that I think it really ruins the process. And ultimately, this is just about winning when you come down to it, because that's what labor negotiations are. They're never a compromise. It's which side can win. But right now, it should be more about money and setting up the league for the next 7 to 10 years, however long the CBA is, rather than just being a thing about principle.
Yeah, I think it's tricky because, as Ethan said, what is the player's leverage if they don't have principle? I mean, it's hard to impose economic, an economic kind of fulcrum to press on here. So it seems to me that while they do have leverage, I mean, obviously some small markets especially really need that revenue, and big markets have a chance to make a ton of money, so they want to get right back in there. It just seems to me that without a sense of purpose that goes beyond money, it's hard to define what the players are fighting for, and it's hard to define their position. And so to me, while I agree that with Zach that ideally you would have an impartial mediator who would be in there and able to kind of make binding resolutions and help push it forward, ultimately if the players are going to defend themselves, I think that principle needs to be at work, even if it could be slightly counterproductive.